So going back to the lab, we're going to come back to, we have to configure router in GNS3 with Ethernet, or fast Ethernet connection port, and we're going to now assign it to 192.168.20.1. So once that router comes up, I should be able to console to it. Run. There we go. So that was on fast Ethernet 00. If I do IP add 192.168.20.1 class C subnet mask, and then turn it on, no shut, I'm in business. There it comes, it will come up. Write that to memory. Go back to my VM, see where we are. When is it going to restart? Fine, perfect. So this is progressing quite nicely. Let's to get in and out. Here's another small little piece of information. When you click into the VM world and you can move your cursor around and everything else, and you try to get out of the environment, you can't. The hotkey to get out is Control and Alt. Control and Alt. That will return your cursor to you, as you can see here. So I click in there and I lose my cursor. Get my cursor back, Control plus Alt gives it to me. Nice quick little shortcut. Alright, so let's get down here. Connect a different Ethernet, fast Ethernet port on your router for DHCP and connect it to a cloud connection that is tied to your wireless or wired port of your host machine. Now what I'm saying here is, we'll go back to GNS3, is we need to make a cloud and drag a cloud over here. And I'm going to connect my cloud to my other Ethernet port of my router. My other Ethernet port of my router. Okay? And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to configure this cloud as one of my physical interfaces, either my wired interface or my wireless interface. Preferably wired if you have a wired interface, it's faster. So here I'm going to go and look for my local host, local area connection. I think it's this top one here. Yeah, it's that top one there. I'm going to click Add, and OK. Now I can go back down here and connect that from fast Ethernet 1 to that. Okay. Now when I go back into R1, I need to configure that interface, which in this case is fast Ethernet 01, so that it gets a DHCP address from the network. Here's how we're going to do that. Config T, go into interface, fast Ethernet 01, which is what I just connected. And instead of doing IP address and then an IP address, you type in IP add or IP address DHCP. That will tell it to ARP for a DHCP server and get an IP address. Then you have to turn it on like you do any other normal interface, no shut. When I do that, that begins that process. Okay? We should get another message here, hopefully, momentarily, that it got an IP address. Bingo, right there. See? Shut the file. So, look familiar, anybody, when you get an IP address here on campus? It's in that range. Just if you were to hook up your laptops to a wired connection in here, you're going to get an IP address off of that subnet. That's coming from the that's coming from the DHCP server. Now, you also get a duplex mismatch on Fast Ethernet 1, not full duplex. Let me show you how to get past that. You have to manually configure this because the switch, and it's not the router, it's the switch that's here on this floor. So if you did this at your house, you may not ever get this error. Okay, but if you're doing it here on campus, go back into that interface F0/1, and you just type in full dash duplex. And you should not get that error anymore. Now if I do a show interface F01, it's up. Also go into the interface 01 and set the speed to 100 megabits automatically. All right. Hopefully I won't get that anymore. If I do, it's something I got to kind of deal with. All right, back to VMware. Still booting. We're booting, we're booting, and we're booting. Okay. No problem. Go back to the lab. See if there's anything else we can do. Set up DNS on your server to points 4222 and 8888. All right, no problem. Install third-party browser. We can't do that yet because the server's not up. Set up a simple web service website on your MS server. Can't do that yet. And then create routes on your host system to reach the 192.168.20.x network. What I mean there in number 9, is you need to do some routing on the router as well as on the server, as well as on your host, your machine, in order to get all the routing to work correctly. In order to get all of the routing to work correctly. Okay? So, here's how that's going to happen. First off, on the router, we need to do a default route to the gateway that we got set up. All right? We need to test that. So, the first thing I need to do is go onto my host machine, since I know I'm on the same network, pull up a command prompt, and type in the command ipconfig/all, and I'm going to do a pipe more so I parse it. Okay. Now I see my Ethernet adapter setting, which I have also tied to my virtual router. You see it's on the same network. 134.71.237. /24. Okay? They're on the same network. So, I need to look for my default gateway, which is .1. That's very important because that's how I'm going to set up my default route in my router. So that anything that comes through that router, i.e. from my virtual machine, passes through there. Okay? And the command for that is IP route, all zeros, that default gateway IP address, which is 134. Look it up again. 71.237. .1. That's it. Now, that's going to be different at your house. It's going to be different if you're in the dorms. It's going to be different if you're at the library. That's only going to work if you're in this room. Okay? Everybody straight on that. You're going to have to discover that yourself in your own environment. Questions on that? Do I need to go over that again? You want me to go over that again? We got a lot of blank stares. Like, oops, I missed something.
Yeah, could you go over it again?
Sure. All right. So, all right. I pulled my virtual router into my environment. I have my VM machine that this host is acting as a bridge for. Okay? It's acting as a bridge for. It's connected to Fast Ethernet 00. It's on the 192.168.20.0/24 network. Its interface is .1, and this one's going